There aren't many things these men agree on, but when it comes to social media, they're strangely in step.
Thank you very much. We're here today to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history, frankly.
Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden want to take away the US law that protects platforms from being liable for what their users post. Donald Trump wants to repeal it to reduce censorship. Joe Biden wants to get rid of it to compel companies into doing more to tackle harmful content. Whoever wins the presidency, it seems change is coming to social media in the US. Elsewhere, lawmakers around the world are also trying to grapple with the issue of hate speech and harmful content. Increasingly, many are looking here for answers. Germany. It's been nearly 3 years since a pioneering new law was passed here in Germany to regulate social media. It's called the NETSG, or NETSG for short, and many countries around the world have seen it as a benchmark for tackling something they are all trying to deal with: hate speech and fake news on social media. According to Danish human rights think tank Justitia, at least 25 countries around the globe, including the UK, have discussed or even adopted regulation models similar to NETSG. But has NETSG actually made a difference? Firstly, let's look at why it was introduced. It all started with the migrant crisis in 2015. Germany! Where are you going?
Germany, Germany, they chant. Europe's new land of opportunity.
Germany opened its doors to hundreds of thousands of refugees. The following months saw an increase in anti-immigrant hate speech online. So the German government brought in this strict regulation. The three main principles of this law is that any social network with 2 million or more users must provide an easy-to-use mechanism so people can report content that they find offensive. The social networks must also delete anything that's obviously illegal within 24 hours or face a maximum £45 million fine, and they must provide every 6 months a transparency report which details any harmful content they find on their services. Literally within 3 days, its effects were felt.
Yeah, Hitler. He's on a lot of Titanic magazines.
Titanic magazine is Germany's biggest satirical publication. They were the first victims of NETSG when they got suspended from Twitter after posting some spoof racist tweets mocking a right-wing politician.
Twitter, in this case, thought that this is racist. I mean, it is. Of course it's racist, because we are a satirical magazine and we're just quoting what she already had said.
The move sparked outcry. Critics said that this showed that so-called over-blocking was happening, where social networks played it safe and removed lots of content to avoid fines. But Titanic did get its account back within a couple of days, and actually Moritz and his team say NETSG has generally been positive.
It hasn't affected Titanic very much since then. I think NETSG is, in its core, is not bad.
According to a new independent report commissioned by the German government, the law has broadly made a positive difference. The NETSG evaluation found no evidence that social networks overblocked content. Researchers found that although some items needed more time to be analysed, social networks had taken action on most within 24 hours. Only one fine has so far been issued. Facebook had to pay €2 million for underreporting the amount of hate speech on its platform. But has there been any trickle-down effects to make social networks generally safer and nicer for everyday users? Verena is an influencer. She says the majority of her online life is positive, but if NETSG was meant to reduce nastiness online, it hasn't worked.
I get a lot of hate comments, like people say that I look like a whale or I'm like an elephant.
Have you noticed a difference between 2018, when NETSG came in, and now?
Maybe on Facebook, but not on Instagram and not on TikTok. It was a process to be here right now, to be cool with myself and to be strong and self-confident.
Critics of NETSG, including the social networks themselves, argue it's too strict and is harming free speech in Germany. And there are concerns the law is being used as a template for censorship in other less free countries like Turkey, which recently passed a similar law. According to Justitia's analysis, 8 of the 25 countries considering NETSG-like laws are classed as having an internet that's not free, and a further 12 are classed as only partly free. It's a trend that's troubling German lawmakers.
If there is no freedom of speech anyway in your country or it is restricted, then of course, yes, a NETSG would help you to do the same restriction of free opinion, and this is what we would not share.
Later this month, Facebook will launch its Oversight Board, nicknamed the Supreme Court for Moderating Content. Its board will assess the decisions of both Facebook and Instagram. But it's still up to each country to set its own laws, and whilst many have looked to Germany for answers, soon all eyes may turn here.